ladies, what organization offers free mammography screenings for uninsured women, offers assistance to the Latinx community with no questions asked, and is pledged to eradicate cervical cancer right here in Chicago?
The Metropolitan Chicago Breast Cancer Force.
Metropolitan Task Force of Chicago.
Ladies, what organization offers free mammography screenings for uninsured women, offers assistance to the Latinx community with no questions asked, and is pledged to eradicate cervical cancer right here in Chicago?
The Metropolitan Chicago Breast Cancer Force.
Metropolitan Task Force of Chicago, right?
The Force of Chicago Breast Cancer for Chicago.
That's why we're changing our name to Equal Hope. New name, same mission, to eradicate healthcare disparities in Chicago.
Chicago Breast Cancer Task Force. Chicago Metropolitan Task Force to Kill Breast Cancer.
Hi, and welcome to the show. I'm Dana Devine. Thank you so much for watching. Okay, clearly we have a new name. After 10 years of success in reducing breast cancer deaths for African American women here in Chicago, after 10 years of providing free mammograms to uninsured, underinsured, or simply unsure women here in Chicago, after navigating thousands of women to the resources they need and deserve, after listening to your needs and expanding our Latina navigation team to serve all women with no immigration questions asked, well, we've now expanded our mission to raise awareness about the alarming rise of cervical cancer right here in Chicago. It's almost 100% preventable. Did you know that? And we've made a pledge right here at Equal Hope to eradicate cervical cancer in Chicago over the next decade. Woohoo! Sounds like good news to me. Yes, that's right. The Metropolitan Chicago Breast Cancer Task Force has a new name, Equal Hope. Yes, 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 Equal Hope. And our mission is to save women's lives by eliminating health disparities in Illinois. All right, and we're looking through the lens of breast cancer and cervical cancer. We address women's health holistically. Our goal is eliminating inequities in prevention, screening, diagnostic, treatment, and survivorship for all women. All right, we're launching a new effort. Did you know that Chicago in 2008 had some of the nation's worst disparities in breast cancer mortality, but now Chicago is #1 in the nation in reducing breast cancer mortality for African American women, from one of the worst to the first. That's right. We're launching a new effort to eradicate this cervical cancer, and we're building on the lessons that we've learned already from our impactful work on breast cancer. Same great mission, same great care, more great services. Now we're Equal Hope. Equal because we're committed to connecting everyone with the best possible health care. Hope because we believe everyone deserves hope for the future, especially when they're confronted with a difficult illness. All right? And unfortunately, Chicago has a cervical cancer rate that's 39% above the U.S. average, and a death rate from cervical cancer that's 61% above the national average. I don't have to explain those alarming numbers. You can help us eliminate cancer in Chicago, or cervical cancer in Chicago, by signing our pledge on our new equalhope.org website. All right? The equalhope website. Stop by, sign our pledge to eradicate cervical cancer right here in Chicago in the next 10 years. All right, equalhope.org. Get used to it. All right, happy holidays. Can I say that? Is it too early? It's cold here in Chicago. It feels like Christmas already. So I feel like I'm right in line saying happy holidays. And reminding you to have your annual screenings. Remember, the key to any survivorship is, for any cancer survivorship is early detection. All right, no excuses, don't deny, verify. We're a call-in show. That means you can join the conversation at any time. The number is 312-738-1060. I'll repeat that, 312-738-1060. So today, We'll get right to it. You'll meet another Shiro. That's what I call them. She's a long-standing member of the Women's Board at the DeSable Museum of African American History. She has received so many, just numerous awards. She's been recognized from various criminal justice departments, including the U.S. Attorney's Office. And through all this, she's a survivor, someone that knows what it means to fight for your life, someone that you should meet. And I love that every guest on this show has a different perspective, a different testimony, a different purpose, but they deliver one crystal clear message to you, and that's early detection saves lives 99% of the time. What do I say? Don't deny, verify. So today, ladies and gentlemen, I would like to introduce to some, we're talking to my friend, Deborah Jones Buggs, how many year survivor? I'll let you tell it.
2 years.
A 2-year survivor.
Yes.
Looking amazing.
2 years.
2-year survivor. Well, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me.
Yes, and I really just believe that your testimony might be the most important thing you say today. So, I don't know, briefly, unbriefly, would you like to tell Chicago your story?
Well, I was diagnosed with breast cancer in May of 2017. And like most people, I imagine, who's diagnosed with breast cancer, I was a little afraid because I didn't know how to handle it, what was going to happen. It was the unexpected. In June of 2017, I had a lumpectomy.
Well, how'd you find it?
I went to get a mammogram. Just a routine, what I thought was going to be a routine mammogram.
Because you go every...
No. For some strange reason, I had thought I had been maybe 2 years, but it was way longer than that. And I'm really embarrassed to even say, I don't even say it.
Well, you know what? This is the message.
I understand. I was so, because I think I take good care of myself. I'm a runner, I eat right, I do all those things that I'm supposed to do, but for some reason I thought I had gone at least within the last 48 months, and it was almost 10 years. And I met a gynecologist, and I went to her for a different reason. And she said, well, Debbie, why don't we do this? I need you to get a colon screening. I need to get your mammogram. I need you to get your pap smear. I need you to get all these tests. Let's make sure all that's okay before we take care of this other issue. And I was like, okay, no problem. So she gave me scripts for all of these things to get done. And I started in May of 2017 getting these things done. I made an appointment to get the mammogram, to get the colonoscopy, to go to the gynecologist. I did all of that in May of 2017. And the first thing I did was the mammogram at Northwestern Hospital, and that's when I found out I had breast cancer. So immediately when I found out, I called my husband, and I was like, okay, am I going to die? What's going to happen? I don't know. But we got as much information as we possibly could about our options. At the time, I didn't know there were different types of breast cancer, and most people don't know there are different types of breast cancer. And I was diagnosed as being HER2 positive, which is a very aggressive form of breast cancer. And I chose to have a lumpectomy where they removed the lump from my left breast. And I chose to go through chemotherapy and radiation. The thing about the hardest part of this journey was not knowing what was going to happen. I knew there were side effects with chemotherapy. I prolonged it because I had some other, I'm involved with various organizations, and I had some things I had to do with those organizations. I didn't want to start the chemotherapy before I finished what I was doing.
Now that's some commitment.
So I finished that, but immediately after I finished it, I started the chemotherapy. And what was scary about the chemotherapy is you hear all the horror stories about what it's going to do to you, how it's going to make you feel, the side effects.
Right.
The side effects, all the side effects. But I was blessed because, yes, I had some side effects. I lost my hair. Okay. I could deal with that. But as I was going through the process, the chemo did not bother me like it bothers some people.
Well, did you get the blackened nails?
My nails didn't turn black, but they did fall off.
Okay.
And that didn't bother me, but they grew back.
And beautifully, I might add, beautifully.
They grew back.
Did you have the mouth?
I didn't have the mouth sores. I wasn't tired. It didn't make me tired. One thing that I asked my doctor before we even started this process is, can I still run and work out, and can I travel? And the doctor said, as long as you feel up to doing whatever, you could do whatever you wanted to do. So once I had that assurance, then I was fine. So during the chemotherapy, I continued to run. I continued to work out. I continued to travel. I continued all my commitments to all my various organizations. I just kept moving. And I think that's one of the things that was good for me, is I tried to keep my life as normal as possible. You know?
Very important.
I did not let the cancer run me. I ran me. That was just something I was going through.
When you say I ran me, did you follow your full protocol that your doctors?
Oh,
Or
absolutely,
did you
absolutely.
make changes?
No, absolutely. I had 6 rounds of chemotherapy every 3 weeks, and for the most part, we followed a regimen every 3 weeks, usually on a Monday. I would have my chemotherapy, and then after my chemotherapy, I did about 20 rounds of radiation.
Okay.
And I went through all of that without a hitch. After radiation, I had to continue with a drug called Herceptin because I was HER2 positive. And that was a year-long treatment of this Herceptin drug. And I had to stop that for about a month because it was damaging my heart.
Now, how did you know that?
Well, I went to do one of my treatments, and they had me plugged up, as I say. And they came in and they said, we're not going to do your Herceptin treatment today because you need to see a cardiologist. So at Northwestern, they work hand in hand, the oncologist, the cardiologist, and other doctors that you need. They work hand in hand to...
Integrated team approach.
Yeah, it was a team approach to take you through the journey.
Right. So, okay. I'm sorry to interrupt you. You were on a roll. You know, you said one thing that you said, and so my husband and I went to the doctor to see what our options were. I heard that. You didn't say my. You said our.
Our options were, yes.
So I take that to mean that your husband was a very integral part of your journey.
Yes, he was a very integral part of my journey, but if you knew my husband, you know that he is not a caregiver, so to speak, and most men aren't. And he had the wherewithal to say, I will be there with you. I will do whatever you want to do, but you need to go get your girls. Because I think he thought they could help me more than he could. And I give him all the credit in the world for being able to know what he could and could not do. Throughout the journey, he has been very, very helpful. Every step of the way, he's been with me. We discussed what our options were. Even though my breast cancer was caught early, and it was I was just stage 1, I still had the option of doing a mastectomy. That wasn't an option for me at the time. So,
So you mean for in your head or from your doctor's point of view?
no, in my head, based on discussions with my husband and how I felt, it was like, let's just take care of this problem this way and then move forward.
Okay. Now, would you do it out for a mastectomy in hindsight?
No, I think we did everything that we were supposed to do and the way we wanted it done.
Right. Because it certainly is a journey for two.
Yes.
Two tango on that journey.
Yes. Well, not only for two, it was a journey for my village.
Oh, right.
I had a village, which I think is very important when you're going through the journey, is to round up your village. I didn't have to go to classes or seek out help. I had a village that helped me as well. They were with me every step of the way. Friends, sorority sisters, they were right there with me through chemo, through treatments, making sure I ate. I did lose quite a bit of weight when I was going through chemo, and my husband had my friends make sure she eats. So they bring me food of what I could eat. Because
What about him? Was he eating?
Yeah, he was eating, but you know, they would bring me food, and you know, they would call me. Have you eaten? Have you eaten? And so, yes, I've eaten. What have you eaten? What do you need me to bring you? So I had this village that helped me get through the journey. When I first was diagnosed, I didn't want to tell anybody, so I slowly told my circle of friends. I slowly told my family. My husband's family was probably the last to know because I didn't want everybody to know. But as I began to share my story, I learned that a couple things. One, there were a number of African American women in my circle that had gone through breast cancer.
And that you did not know, had never disclosed.
Never disclosed. And I realized that there was a bigger problem than just me. One of the things I started when I was going through breast cancer was on Facebook, I would post the word of the day. And that word of the day was for me, initially. It was just for me. It was the word of the day that I was feeling as I was going through that journey. But as I kept posting that word, other people began to say, thank you for that word. I needed that. Thank you for that. I needed that. And I was like, oh, I guess this isn't about me. This is about reaching out to others. And then I started to reach out to others, and people would refer other people going through the journey to me just to talk. I talked to one young lady, and she was afraid to tell her family that she had breast cancer, was going through this. She was afraid to tell her job. And all I could do was tell her, find somebody, one person that you can talk to, because you can't carry the burden by yourself. It's too heavy. Find one person. I was so blessed to have a village that I could rely on to get
You just gave me the chill bumps with that one.
to get through the journey.
Yes. Well, I mean, you know, fortunately for some, and I know you, that, you know, she's a popular woman, you know, and unfortunately, you know, I think about the homeless woman or the one with not a big wide circle of friends or children, and it's a daunting experience. I do want to, excuse me, I want to remind you, I don't know if you can even see our new logo, it's pretty pale, Equal Hope. That's our new name, and if you are listening and anything sounds a little like jarring you, and you feel like you need a mammogram, or you've been feeling something that doesn't feel right and feeling like that for more than 3 weeks, call this number, 312-942-3368. That's Equal Hope, or the information is at ChicagoBreastCancer.org. The website is www.equalhope.org. Now, I'm stumbling just for maybe today, because we're a new name, and I'm so used to saying the Metropolitan Chicago Breast Cancer Task Force, but we are Equal Hope, and it's really an exciting new horizon that we are embarking on, and I'm really excited about moving into cervical cancer. So, Deborah Jones Bugg, lots of decisions in a short amount of time. I heard you say that, and you had a partner to help you make a lot of really quick decisions. I think that's what I remember the most, that you have, you know, a day on this one, maybe 5 days on the next decision, but you got to make them quick if you can.
Yes.
Yeah. And you know that they count. These
Yes,
decisions
they
make
do.
a big difference. So your side effects, you didn't have any side effects.
Not major side effects. Of course, you know, the hair loss,
Neuropathy?
no neuropathy, loss of fingernails. During chemo, your taste buds changed a little bit, but nothing really major. I think during chemo I had one day where I really had to go home and go to bed. And that's because I had chemo on Monday. I left on Thursday to travel, and usually during chemo weeks, I always felt really great the day before, the day of, and the day after, because I take steroids. You took steroids. Then by Thursday, all of that stuff kind of wears off, and then you start feeling the effect of chemo. So by
Day 4?
Yeah, by Thursday, Friday, Saturday, it's awful.
Yeah.
The taste buds are off. You're a little off, but it wasn't that bad. But I traveled. I took a trip to Philadelphia, and I was at meetings all day Thursday, Friday, Saturday. Came home Sunday, and I was exhausted, and I just went straight to bed. And that was the first time that I felt awful.
Okay.
But it was a combination of the chemo and the travel.
right.
That was the only day that I remember that I had an issue.
Well, I think that working out is very important. I think I heard that working out will really help you during the chemo process. I attribute that to sweating the chemo out. You're sweating and drinking lots of water so that you can urinate it out.
Right.
That was my rationale, and I worked out the whole time, and I didn't have I had a pretty, uneventful chemo. 16 rounds I did of chemotherapy, so I would agree with that. How has your diagnosis affected the lifestyle you lead today?
It hasn't, because it didn't really affect me when I was going through the journey. Other than I had to run to the hospital, every
Were you retired?
I was retired then, so it really didn't affect my journey, and it hasn't really affected it other than I'm a new me. I'm a new me because I not only look different, but I feel different. And accepting the new me has been somewhat of a challenge. I'm not going to say it hasn't, but I am a new me, and accepting the new me has probably been the biggest challenge. But it really hasn't affected my lifestyle, because I continued my lifestyle. Like I said earlier, I didn't let cancer run me. I run me. And running me was keeping up with the same lifestyle that I had.
So what would you say would be the most difficult part then? Okay, you sounded like, well, it wasn't a breeze, and I saw you running around the neighborhood. I see Deborah in the neighborhood running all of the time. So when you said that you were the picture of health, I mean, she really was. So what was the most, you didn't have a hard time, but what was the most difficult part, what would you say?
I just really don't think it was difficult. The most difficult part, I think, of all this whole journey is the unknown. Not knowing in the beginning what was going to happen, not knowing how the treatments were going to affect me, not knowing now I am healthy, I feel healthy, I felt mostly healthy when I was going through the journey, but now the fear, if it is a fear, and I'm not trying to put that out in the atmosphere of it coming back, because breast cancer does come back. It may metastasize in another way in another part of your body. So those are things that I think about. But for me, I just keep doing what I know how to do, and that's be me.
Good answer. Well said, because I do know that at post-cancer, that probably is the most traumatic part, just to keep your mind focused and positive regularly.
Yes.
So I'm so glad that you shared your testimony. I think one thing I heard just crystal clear, and I won't repeat it again because you said you were embarrassed about it, but the picture of health did not go to the doctor for a while.
Yeah.
And things changed in a very short amount of time.
Yes.
And I think that is really, and so you answered a question for me here today, because I had recognized you for so long as being such a healthy, I think the question did cross my mind. Deborah,
But once you get caught up in life, and you get caught up in everything that you're doing, work, the organizations that you belong to, and
you feel healthy.
you feel healthy, and you just forget.
And
you
breast
know you're
cancer.
supposed to do it. You know you're supposed to do it every year, and you just forget. And I had no idea it was
And you
that
had no
long.
symptoms.
No symptoms whatsoever.
So that is another really important message. No symptoms. That's why you have to screen. You have to screen. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm just going to again remind you that if you feel like you need a mammogram, call Equal Hope right now, 312-942-3368 or info@chicagobreastcancer.org. The website is www.equalhope.org. We're here with Deborah Jones Bug, a 2-year survivor with a great message. I want to thank Equal Hope for allowing this message and this awareness to go forward every month. We meet here every Tuesday, the third Tuesday of every month at 5 o'clock from 5 to 5:30. If there's anything you want to say, any comments you want to make, I'm introducing you to Sheroes every month, survivors, people who know what it's like to fight for your life. Deborah Jones Bug, thank you so much for coming out. I want to thank the show producer, Donna Lynn Schaefer, our music producer, Maurice Joshua, of course, Equal Hope. Thank you for watching, and make sure you share the message with somebody. We'll come back on again. We'll be back here next month, but until then, may the rest of your day be the best of your day. Thank you so much for watching.